On March 20th, 1966, the most famous trophy in the world vanished in broad daylight. No alarms went off. No one saw a thing. And for 6 days, the entire country had no idea where it was. This wasn't some ancient artifact locked away in a museum. This was the World Cup, the actual trophy, stolen 4 months before England was set to host the tournament of a lifetime. And here's the part that makes this whole story insane. The thief walked past £3 million worth of rare stamps sitting in the exact same room. He didn't touch a single one. He went straight for the trophy and left everything else behind. So who takes a trophy worth £3,000 and ignores £3 million in stamps right next to it? The answer to that question took the police nowhere. But the answer to who actually found it again is even stranger than the theft itself. Let's start at the beginning. In January 1966, the Jules Rimet Trophy arrived in England. This was the original World Cup trophy, a solid silver gilt statue that had been awarded to champions since 1930. It normally sat locked away at the Football Association's headquarters. But that February, a stamp company called Stanley Gibbons asked for permission to display it as the centerpiece of an exhibition. The FA agreed, on one condition. The trophy had to be guarded at all times. On March 19th, the exhibition opened inside Westminster's Central Hall. 2 police officers stood guard around the clock. During the day, 2 more plainclothes officers joined them. On paper, this trophy was about as protected as a national treasure could be. But here's what nobody accounted for. On Sundays, the hall was used for church services. And during the service, the guard rotation changed. At around noon on March 20th, the guards did their usual walkthrough. That's when they noticed the display case had been forced open. The back doors of the building had been pried apart. The wooden security bar had been unscrewed from the inside. And the trophy, the actual physical World Cup, was simply gone. The thief had walked in, broken open a case sitting feet away from a church service, and walked out again. Nobody heard a thing. Nobody saw a thing. The most secure exhibit in the building had been emptied in broad daylight. Police scrambled. They were looking for a man in his late 30s, with dark eyes, possibly a scar on his face. That's all they had. Then, the next day, things got stranger. The chairman of the Football Association received a phone call. A man calling himself Jackson told him a package was coming. When it arrived, it contained part of the trophy's lining and a ransom note. £15,000, or the World Cup gets melted down. Now here's where you'd expect a thriller movie to take over. Secret meetings, marked bills, a sting operation. And that's almost exactly what happened. The police set up an undercover handoff. Detectives posed as FA representatives, ready to hand over a bag of cash to catch the man calling himself Jackson. They caught him. His real name was Edward Betchley, a small-time crook with a history of theft. But here's the problem. Betchley swore up and down that he hadn't stolen the trophy. He claimed a mysterious man he only knew as the Pole had paid him £500 just to be the middleman, to deliver messages and collect the ransom. The police didn't believe a word of it. They charged him anyway. But they had no trophy, no second suspect, and a country watching the clock as their own World Cup tournament crept closer. For 6 days, the most famous sports trophy on the planet was simply missing. The Football Association was so worried it might never resurface that they secretly commissioned a silversmith to build an exact replica, just in case the real one was gone for good. And then, on March 27th, a man named David Corbett took his dog for an evening walk in South London. His dog's name was Pickles, a black and white collie. Nothing about that walk was supposed to be special, but as they passed a parked car on a quiet residential street, Pickles stopped. He started sniffing at something wrapped under a hedge. Corbett looked closer. It was a parcel, wrapped in old newspaper, tied with string. He opened it, and there it was, the World Cup, sitting under a hedge on an ordinary street, found by a dog out for his evening walk. The thief, it turned out, had panicked. He must have realized the police were closing in and dumped the trophy rather than risk being caught holding it. Pickles became a national hero overnight. He appeared at England's World Cup celebration banquet that summer. He was awarded an actual medal from the National Canine Defense League. He even starred in a film. Meanwhile, the man who actually stole the trophy was never identified. Betchley was convicted only of handling the ransom demand. To this day, the real thief's name has never been confirmed. England went on to win that World Cup, beating West Germany in the final. Bobby Moore lifted the trophy in front of the Queen. The whole country celebrated. But almost nobody at that celebration knew the trophy in Bobby Moore's hands wasn't even the real one anymore. The actual Jules Rimet Trophy had been quietly swapped backstage for the replica the FA had built during the crisis, just in case. The real one was locked away for safekeeping. The one the world saw lifted into the sky that day was the backup. Here's the part almost nobody talks about, though. That wasn't the end of this trophy story. It was barely the middle. In 1970, the rules of the World Cup changed. Brazil won their third title that year, and FIFA decided that any nation that won 3 World Cups got to keep the Jules Rimet Trophy forever. So the original, the one Pickles found under a hedge, was shipped to Brazil and placed inside the headquarters of the Brazilian Football Confederation in Rio de Janeiro. And in December 1983, it was stolen again. This time, there was no ransom note, no middleman, no dog sniffing it out under a hedge. The thieves broke in, pried the trophy off its base, and disappeared. Police eventually arrested several suspects, but the trophy itself was never recovered. Investigators eventually concluded what happened to it. It hadn't been hidden. It hadn't been sold to some private collector in a glass case. The thieves had melted it down for the gold. The actual physical object that Jules Rimet created in 1930, the trophy that Pelé held above his head, the one a dog named Pickles became famous for finding, no longer exists anywhere on Earth. It was turned into bars of melted gold and sold off, piece by piece, sometime in the early 1980s. Think about that for a second. The most photographed trophy in sports history was reduced to scrap metal value and disappeared into the black market, and nobody even knows exactly where the gold ended up. What's left today is a replica, the one made in 1966 during that frantic week when the FA thought they might lose the trophy forever. That replica now sits in the National Football Museum in Manchester. It's the closest thing the world has left to the original Jules Rimet Trophy. A backup plan built out of fear during a 6-day crisis that ended up outliving the real thing by decades. So here's where this leaves us. The original World Cup trophy survived one theft because a dog happened to take an evening walk down the right street. It did not survive the second one. The replica nobody thought would matter is the only piece of that history still standing. And somewhere, in vaults or jewelry or bars nobody will ever trace, is the melted down gold of the actual trophy Bobby Moore lifted in 1966. Not lost, not hidden, gone, completely and permanently gone. The World Cup you see lifted into the air today isn't even related to that original trophy. It's a brand new design introduced in 1974. Which means the real Jules Rimet Trophy, the one this entire story is about, doesn't exist as a memory in some museum somewhere. It exists as someone's wedding ring, someone's gold watch, scattered into 1,000 pieces, in 1,000 places, and not one person on Earth could tell you where. If this blew your mind, that's the whole point of NeuroSeep. Subscribe now, because next time, the mystery I uncover might be even crazier than this one. See you in the next one.